By 2021, the overall value of China's exports will reach $6 trillion US, making it the country with the highest value of exports worldwide. China's efforts to further expand the main point of maritime commerce operations have continued to make progress, and the country has continued to make progress. Build both lease ports and ports are used through cooperative efforts and financial investments in certain nations. A strong cooperation between China and Israel has recently been developed. China has agreed to lend aid to Israel in the process of modernizing a large military port with an estimated cost of $2 billion. In exchange for China's use of this military port, Israel agreed to provide China a lease for the next 25 years. The question therefore becomes, why did Israel choose to collaborate with China to build a military port? What kind of significance does Israel place on this particular port? Haifa City, Israel is home to Haifa Port, which is Israel's third largest port city after Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Haifa City is also Israel's third largest city overall. In addition to being an important hub for Israel's maritime trade, this port is also recognized as the nautical equivalent of a lifeline for the Israeli population. You claim that. May I ask why? The Haifa port is the only major port in Israel that is large enough to dock aircraft carriers, and it is also one of the most important facilities for Israel's participation in international trade. This has important ramifications not only for the military but also for the security of the nation. During previous battles in the Middle East, Israel relied on Haifa port to obtain supplies and assistance. Nowadays, U.S. Navy ships stationed in the Mediterranean make frequent stops at the port and participate in joint maneuvers with the Israeli Navy. The historically significant Haifa port has fallen significantly behind due to Israel's fast economic development. In addition to the fact that the technologies used to run the port are antiquated, the port's capacity is insufficient to accommodate the flow of ships that are docked at the port. Israel has been tirelessly working for years to improve the efficiency of Haifa port in an effort to find a solution to this problem. But as a result of a serious lack of specialized expertise and resources, there has been very little progress that can be seen as a result of their effort. In its final-ditch effort to modernize the Haifa port, Israel has no choice but to collaborate with other countries and rely on the technological expertise of other countries. However, considering the significance of the Haifa port, any problems that arise during the development of the port would constitute a huge setback for Israel's overall advancement. Because of this, in order for Israel to jointly renovate the Haifa port, it has to find a partner who is extremely trustworthy. In the end, China agreed to take on the role of a collaborator in assisting Israel in the establishment of the Haifa port, depending on the abundant infrastructure technology and dependable products that it possesses. There is already an agreement in place between China and Israel to work together on this project. The renovation of the Haifa port cost China a total of $2 billion, of which $7 billion went toward paying for the Haifa port's 25-year lease, and the remaining $300 million was utilized to improve the port's infrastructure and technology. Additionally, the Israeli side expects China to execute the Haifa port project as soon as it is practically possible to do so. After all, Israel is unable to bear the financial burden of losing its port. Because of this, Haifa port will experience a major increase in congestion. Despite this, the United States has taken an interest in terminating the cooperation between China and Israel, and they even want to see it happen. What happened exactly? Haifa is home to both one of Israel's most important commercial ports and one of the country's most important military ports. Both the United States Navy's 6th Fleet and the Israeli Navy's nuclear submarine force have maintained bases in this region for some time. Regular cooperative military drills are conducted by the two countries close to the area known as the Haifa port. At this time, China and Israel are cooperating in order to improve the port, which is of vital importance to the United States. The United States believes that it will most certainly be forced to face difficult repercussion in the event that China is awarded a 25-year lease on the port. Israel was warned by the United States to immediately stop cooperating with China and was directly threatened by the United States with damage to the U.S.-Israel security relationship. The expansion of Israel's internal commerce relies heavily on the construction of new ports. Hence, this project is of critical importance. It would be a very unwise decision to stop improving ports only because of objections from the United States. Since the beginning of the year, Israel and China have been holding discussions over the port expansion project. If you find a new nation to collaborate with, it will take a significant amount of time, and they might not be as reliable as China. Therefore, Israel flagrantly rejected the warning issued by the United States, persisted in allowing Chinese businesses to upgrade the Haifa port, and deepened its close relationship with China. What activities does China have planned to further develop Haifa port? The new port of Haifa in China is built entirely with technology originating from China. Both the technology and the operation of the new port of Haifa have benefited from the knowledge and experience of the Yangshan Deep Water Port in Shanghai, China. Additionally, all of the components that are used in the port are manufactured in China. The most interesting thing about this terminal is that its core operating system is an intelligent, automated terminal operating system developed by a Chinese company and safeguarded by intellectual property laws. In addition, Haifa Exingang has greatly reduced environmental pollution caused by terminal operations by encouraging and deploying electric container trucks, as well as by putting into reality for Israel and the rest of the world China's green environmental protection approach. During its 6 years of development, this project received a total investment from China of $1.7 billion US. China ultimately built all of the new port building projects on schedule and at a decent standard, making it the epidemic's quickest large-scale project in Israel. This was due to the fact that China had better standards. This is the first completely new terminal to be constructed in Israel in the last 60 years, and it marks the first time that China has provided developed countries with cutting-edge technology and smart port management experience. The new port of Haifa in Israel is scheduled to open its doors to the public in September of 2021. At any given moment, at least 18,000 shipping containers are able to be transported into what is known as the new port of Haifa, and the area is also able to accommodate some exceptionally big cargo ships. It is predicted that the new port of Haifa would have a throughput of 350,000 TEUs by the end of 2022. This would represent more than 10 of the total cargo that passes through Israel's national ports. The new port of Haifa will have a throughput of 150,000 TEUs in the first half of 2022. Within the following several years, it is anticipated that the new port of Haifa would eventually reach the design value of 1.6 million TEUs and attain an annual throughput of 600,000 TEU. Since it first began operating, the Haifa new port has been successful in reducing the low efficiency of Israel's national ports, the difficulty of cargo ships entering the port, and the difficulty of leaving the port with empty containers. This has been accomplished through the implementation of cutting-edge automation technology and scientific management. Because there is now less congestion at the new port of Haifa, it is now possible to transfer products more quickly and easily all around Israel and the countries that surround it. This not only increases communication amongst the ports that are located along the maritime Silk Road, but it also acts as an important channel for commodities that are entering and exiting the European market. Trade routes in the Mediterranean Sea, Israel enjoys a significant geographical advantage over its neighbors. The so-called New Silk Road and the route that goes around the Mediterranean both go via Haifa, which is an important junction. The entirety of Israel's maritime sector benefits as a result of this development. According to the Prime Minister of Israel, China is an extremely dependable partner for the sake of collaboration. He once lauded China while speaking in front of the press. Working with China won't be a mistake because the country is not only serious and responsible about the building projects it undertakes, but it also moves at an incredible rate. In all of its international cooperation endeavors, China has always adhered to the tenets of cooperative development, mutual benefit, and outcomes that are beneficial for all parties involved. There is little question that China will collaborate with an even greater number of nations in the years to come. Some countries, despite their best efforts, are helpless to stop the momentum that China is building. Subscribe to this channel to watch other amazing projects you didn't hear about.